we don't need a very big truck. I mean, it does go tall, but like a regular 10-foot truck would more than fit. Uh huh. There's Alabama's pretty. I mean, as far as trees and stuff, and there's actually a little state park not far from uh, Montgomery. It's kind of between Montgomery and Birmingham, and it'd be something to go check out. We only checked out a small portion of it while we were there. I'd love to, but I can't take any vacation. Well, that's the thing. We schedule vacation for the whole year in December. I don't. In fact, I only wanted 2 weeks this year, and I didn't even get those 2 weeks. Carol, what are you doing? Yep, but I could send Danny with you. I can do it. Yes. Hmm. Yeah. Well, that sounds like a plan to me. It'd be close, but it should fit because it's a 5 by 10 foot storage unit. Now the stuff in the very back we've got packed basically all the way to the ceiling, and it's like a 12-foot ceiling, but it's only like the last 2 or 3 feet that we've got stacked that high because it's all boxes. The rest of it is just loose crap, odds and ends that we couldn't fit. Right. Oh yeah. Well, at least 2 days there and 2 days back. Because it's 10 hours from here to Dallas, and then like 9 hours from Dallas to Montgomery. I think it's 18 to 20. Nice thing is once you get west of Dallas on 10, it's not. Once you get to about Odessa, then the speed limit bumps up to 80. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can definitely look into it because Budget has trailers too. That's actually who we work with for the truck coming out here. Yeah. Well, I'd have to look because right. Yeah. Another option might be just for you to pick Danny up and take him to Alabama, and we could make a one-way reservation for um, like the the small 10-foot box truck to come back. That's another option too. I'll have to look at what their sizes are. trip, you pay for the mileage, and it kind of works out to be about the same. But I don't know how U-Haul does. I'm just saying with them. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, Krista and I will look into it and see if we can budget it, and if so, we will definitely get a hold of you. Thanks, Keith. All right, bye. Carol, go get the phone. He thought I was you.
Yep, it was. That's okay. I was talking to the wife about moving stuff. So anyway, um, since I moved the stone down, I guess this part of the stone hasn't been used yet because it's just like a stupid stupid phone. Hey, good to see you, monkey. We are doing fantastic. The first part of the stream, I cleaned out uh, the ground glass from the bottom of the grinder. And I also took the opportunity to move the stone down because it was riding so high. I'll show you here. Turn it off. Um, it's got brass both above and below the stone, and it was riding so high that a couple of streams ago, it actually cut off the bottom brass portion. So I scooted it down the shaft, um, and apparently this part of the stone, now that I lowered it, has never been used before because it's basically like I've got a brand new stone now. Not that it wasn't working before, but it's working super, super, super well now. So that's awesome. I'm glad I've got two awesome people hanging out in chat. That's great. You're the mod. You have to be here. Either you or the other one. And you're not just in chat. You were right here. So it's kind of one of those things that doesn't count. It should be in the mail. I haven't seen it yet, but it should be in the mail. I need to send him an email. Yeah, it would be pretty easy to do. Considering how fast that I just took off the material, uh, that actually is pretty easy to do. So, especially with a new bit or a new section of a stone that you've been using, you do not want to put too much pressure because it just takes material off really, really quick. Yeah, that was last night. Oh, this is something I've been doing that's fun. So let's go into Muxy, and we are going to reset the cup on stream because that's fun. All right, is everybody ready? 3, 2, 1, kaboom. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's really easy to do, especially if you not used to a new stone, a new bit. Because, well, like this one, since it had been like barely on the bottom of the Three landed back in, so I got to do it again. All right, let's do it again. Kaboom! You'll have to let me know if they land back in. That's one thing I really love about Muxie. It doesn't just like make the bits disappear. They explode out of the cup. It's rather fun. Yes. It's a feeling that takes getting some used to, and then by the time you get used to it, it's worn down again. And so you have to start pressing hard again. Alrighty. All right. Looks like we've got Joel's neck. I'm just going to put this pin right there because the paper, since it's gotten wet a couple of times, wants to pull it up, and that piece isn't heavy enough to push down the paper. All right, so I want to do these stripes out to the edge of the shoulder. Then I'll do this side, and then we'll work our way down. We've got one thin stripe there, and then the middle section that will go in. Huh? This is all the same color. Yeah, for the body, it's all going to be the same color. Now this I will either do in the wispy blue or that blue that we just got. That actually might be nice for that. And these little stripes I might do in that other lighter blue as well. Because since it's got hash marks, I'm assuming that it's not supposed to be shiny like the iridized glass. So I'm going to use that other glass that we got that's still a blue. All right, so while I'm thinking about it, let me ask you guys, since I've got people here in chat and I can actually ask everybody's opinion and we can look at this all at the same time. Let me pull out that. I don't need that for now. I hate opening a brand new bloody thing of glass. Getting the plastic off of it sucks. So the stuff from Hobby Lobby has a plastic film on it. It's a bear to get off. Yes, it does. Yeah. I guess it's supposedly called iridized, but I always knew it as pearlescent because, like, you know, the white stuff especially sparkles like a pearl. So here are the options. This is a nice light blue, maybe a slight teal tint to it. Get rid of the... Oh, did you need the thing off of it? Let me just tear it off. Maybe. Okay, there. That way it's not so much plasticky. So For the eyes, let's start with this question first. For the eyes, we've got three choices. We can either do the dark blue parts off of the blue swirly glass, and I've got a couple pieces that should be big enough for that, and if not, I've got more. I can find other pieces. So we can do that for the eyes, this dark blue. Our second option is to turn the iridized glass over and use the backside. So it's kind of a grayish blue. Or we can use this color, this light blue for the eyes. So that's our three options. Dark blue from the wispy blue, gray blue from the backside of the iridized glass, or this lighter blue it's not quite a teal, but it does have some green in it. Light blue? Maximum Homer, you still with us? Do you have an opinion? Because I actually kind of do like the light blue as well. It is pretty close in color, but because of the iridized and the color shifts, it would stand out. But it is pretty similar because either light or dark. Well, which do you prefer, the light or the dark? We've got one vote for light, two if you count my vote because I kind of like it too. Lean towards light? All right, it's settled then. So I will use this color for the eyes. I will also use it for this part of the armband and the 3D PN lettering on the chest. Oh, and this dark spot right there will also be that blue. So anything with hash marks will now be this blue. We'll do the eyes in that blue. Yeah, I do like this color, so I'm happy with that. Well, no, well I usually do too, but you happen to find this one first, so you beat me to it. Yeah, I do like that color. So we'll do that for the eyes and the hash marks. Anywhere there's hash marks on the pattern, that's where that color is going. I'm gonna set it over here. I have a surprise that for the eyes later, but it'll have to be at the end. I cut out two patterns, one right and one left. You guys will just have to stay tuned. Yeah, something like that. Oh, and yesterday we did do some soldering because I was having problems with all these little tiny pieces. They kept shifting on me, so I finally got fed up and soldered this area so things wouldn't move on me. Normally I save soldering all for the end, but sometimes necessity dictates that you do something different than what you like to normally do. It smells like seaweed. The original drawing actually doesn't have pupils. It's just a different color. But I can think about doing something with the foil. That might be kind of neat.
There. Now go do your timeout.
All right. So anyway, back to work. Now that we know what the plan is, I still want to get all these little strips out of the way before I do anything else. And then since we have chosen what we want to do with the eyes now, I will do the eyes as soon as we get all this detail work below the neck done.
Let's see. Monkey says it is Mrs. Tinker you were talking to.
Yes, Mrs. Tinker is right over there.
And Maximum says just giving you a hard time.
That's fine. I'm totally okay with that. I'm glad to have some interaction for a change. I can get quiet when there's nobody to talk to.
Hi, Mrs. Tinker.
You know, I watched way too many Simpsons episodes as a kid because every time someone says, "Hi, everybody," I just want to say, "Hi, Dr. Nick."
Well, let's see. Hi, everybody. Let's see. Howdy doody. Um,
Howdy Doody was way before my time. Way, way, way before my time. Not that there's anything wrong with Howdy Doody, but I mean, it was way before my time.
hey, I'm sorry. I watched too much syndicated TV.
That wasn't even on anymore. there was, I have seen Howdy Doody, but it was because of one of the Christmas videos that my grandma had Howdy Doody in it.
Maximum says the coroner. I'm so sick of that guy.
Did I miss something there?
Um, when you were talking about The Simpsons,
Oh.
Maximum was asking if it's the coroner.
Oh no, Dr. Nick was the uh, incompetent but very charismatic doctor on The Simpsons. So you had Dr. Hibbert, who was the regular family doctor, and then you had Dr. Nick, that was like one of those TV celebrity quasi doctors, and I couldn't ever decipher whether Dr. Nick was supposed to be from India or where, but he was definitely a foreigner. He definitely had a accent.
Okay. Monkey said she'll be right back, putting LT to bed.
Oh, okay.
Maximum says,
Good night, little troll.
Maximum says
Really?
just quoting Dr. Nick.
Oh, oh, okay. Yeah. Shush. Go away.
And Monkey's just
Let's
saying
turn
hi
the
to you.
sound on that off. Sounds. Volume.
What do you do?
Ringtone. Shut up. Ah, Twitch. There we go. All right, so that's that one. Let's cut it out and see how far off I am. My light's not the greatest right now for tracing stuff.
I can go get you a, well, not yet. It's out in
It's close enough. I can trim once we get the initial cutout
no, I was
out.
thinking I can get you a clip-on light that'll give you a little more light.
It's just one of those things with paper. You don't realize how much variation in thickness there is until you actually are trying to trace with it. Like one time it'll be just fine, and the next time, not so much. Okay, that's good. I don't want to taper it like it is in the drawing, um, simply because it just makes it more difficult. But that's a pretty good representation there of that little stripe. So I've just got to find a little strip of glass that matches that little stripe. And this one may be the one. Okay, so that's a nice little section that just fits. In fact, I may turn it upside down the other way. All right. So when I turned it upside down, it didn't quite fit anymore. So I'm stuck with one way, which is fine. I just thought the width might be better, but the way the glass is curved, it didn't quite work out. All right, got it attached. Just to give you an idea how thin this actually is, there's my finger. That works. Alrighty. And this is going to be a lot of detail work on the grinder. So hopefully I don't get too many fits with the template getting over soaked with water. We will see. noise, please. I might need my pliers, so I'm going to pull them over close. All right, that's probably close enough. Let's see what it looks like.
What'd you do? Where's the flashlight? Oh.
That looks pretty good.
Maximum needs to get some things done, so he'll be lurking.
Okay, have a good lurk.
Tell him he'll lurk all you want.
All right, I'm gonna unplug the camera for just a second because I've got a tangle of cords. Give me just a second.
You're supposed to be playing game, John. Okay.
Okay, that's better for a while till it does it again. No, it's just because I go back and forth all the time. And I must not move the camera the exact same way all the time. It tends to loop around, make those little twisty loops in the cord. All right, so giving our piece its little bath. And even if I didn't have the glue stick and the paper backing, I would need to do this. What on earth did I do with my towel? Oh, it's over here. Got it. Reason being is when you're grinding, the part of the glass dust sticks to the edge of the piece you just ground. And if you go to put the foil on right away without giving it a bath, the foil will stick to the dust, the powder residue on the edge of the glass, and not the glass itself, and so it'll come right back off. Kind of similar to how a lint roller works, or the trick that you can use for pet hair and such with simple Scotch tape, any kind of adhesive tape. Oh, it's right here. My weights. Alrighty. The reason I've got weights on this is I've used it before. When I got it wet, it kind of warped a little bit, so they're holding it down flat.
Yes. Yep.
Why, you can't find her?
She
Well,
poops.
that's what you get for letting her out of her ball.
To go outside. Huh? And she went down on my black footrest and
You checked your closet?
I can't really do that because I don't have a flashlight because the flashlight needs a charge and my phone.
We have a lost hedgehog at the moment. She'll be found eventually. But he's right. Right now our flashlight is on the charger, so...
Mod, damn it. Okay. Okay. I was gonna to assume we can clean up all this.
But yes, I do wipe it down. It doesn't take long for it to get where it looks like it's just awful. I do wipe it down. But yeah, the dryer goes there because the 220 plug is there. Um, most dryers are 220. Now, here in the US, we use 110 for almost everything, but some of the higher power uh, items like your dryer or your furnace run off of 220. I think the skinny end was up top.
Gramic fail. My typing. I'm typing through.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's just chat after all. Okay, so I'm gonna do does not need to be there since that should be good enough.
or does or those few dryers using gas?
Yeah, well, this one is an electric dryer, but it still runs off at 220. But our 220 line is not hooked up and has not been hooked up since we've been in this house. Apparently, the last tenants snipped the line or something happened. Our landlord knows about it, and getting things fixed and pretty much is not going to happen unless we pay for it, and it's, I think, a $500 fix if I use, a proper certified electrician.
And he doesn't want to pay it.
And he doesn't want to pay that, and of course he won't send his uncertified handyman over here to do it either. So we are without a dryer, but that's fine because here in El Paso, most of the time you can just hang your clothes outside and they're done in 15 minutes.
So at least I'm saving money.
Yeah, I mean, in the long run. I mean, at least the clothesline outside is up and works. So otherwise, we'd probably be a lot more vocal about it.
Oh yeah, we definitely be more vocal about it. Ugh, stupid thing. He says what an ass, and he has dollar signs for the S.
Yeah, he's literally a slumlord, piece of garbage. When we first moved in here, we signed the lease, and it took us 2 weeks to come back and move our stuff in, and he promised he would have the swamp cooler going. It took us another month and a half of constantly bitching at him, excuse my language, to get him to finally come out here and fix it. And even then, it wasn't fixed. He had to come out here 3 times to actually get it going.
Can't do that here in Houston. Too humid here. Yeah.
Yeah, we know. Yep. Yeah, Houston's a bit of a drive from here, but yes.
Well, there are tenant rights in this state.
Yeah, that's my wife's department, so, she gets to follow through with that. I'm usually not home. It has been more than long enough, though. If we really wanted to file a complaint, we could file a official complaint because it's been several months. That looks pretty good.
I guess with lots of hedgehog, just give them a reason to clean his room. What? The last place we rented had our landlady tried to force us out as she was selling the house. Yeah, that happens. What are you doing, John? Didn't work out well for her having tenants familiar with the laws.
I'm sure it didn't.
Those are for dinner.
Like I said, if my wife really wanted to, it's been enough time, and we've had an estimate and everything. She could take it further if she wanted to, but you know, is it worth the bother since we can 99% of the time hang the clothes outside? Yeah, probably not. But that's up to her.
Bother me none.
I told her that I would back her either way. We definitely have a case. We've told them several times. We have a documented estimate from, hell, probably 9 months ago now.
Pretty much.
So just that by itself would show that, he obviously hasn't done anything since then. So, and what it is they snipped the wire from because the wire comes up out of the fuse boxes in one of the back bedrooms, and it went up and over the house and then into this room, and it was snipped off back there. So it's actually not a hard fix. You could easily turn off the breaker box, put a nice little splice in the wire, and it'd be just fine. Of course, that's assuming that he used proper grade wire to begin with, which I think it's a pretty large wire, which it should be, but I never really looked at it. Noise, please.
Let me before you go on. Engine says true, and then Maximum comes up. I can see the grinder spray on the dryer.
Yep, it doesn't take long to look like that at all. It wipes right off though. Just a wet rag and it comes right off. It's not a hard cleanup.
Joelbot, go help find the catcher. Oh, looks like this is giving Danny a reason to clean his
Yep.
room.
Did you get the noise up?
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, come on. All right. So there it is. It gets its little bath. And just so everybody knows, probably going to go another 2.25 hours or so before we end, and then I'll take a uh, couple hour break and we'll stream again this afternoon. I mean, it's already afternoon, but later towards evening.
Why don't you two go help? You always seem to want to go play with things, Mocha. Go find the hedgehog. Well, at least now Danny's cleaning his room.
Uh-huh. Kind of has no choice.
But he doesn't think she's in there anymore. She thinks that she is probably wandering the house.
Knowing the way she acts when she's in her cage, she's probably huddling in a corner somewhere.
Hmm?
She's probably huddling in a corner somewhere.
Will you chill?
Don't know how.
Go find a hedgehog.
Telling Dumb Dog to go find anything. That's funny.
You ain't going outside though. Because every time you go outside, you're going to be barking at the neighbors, and they're moving, so. Or something of that sort.
Yep.
Go look for a hedgehog. So we've, the hedgehog is not in the boys' room because the boys' door is shut. So I just checked their bathroom, and I didn't see anything.
I bet he's. I bet she
Nobody. I shut the door.
is
So
curled up in a corner somewhere, either in Danny's closet or in the corner underneath his bed.
No, his bed is in the hallway. His bed is in the hallway right now.
Okay, well, underneath the dresser then.
That's what I'm thinking. Most likely underneath the dresser. I found her. Where? In my pants.
That ain't right.
Which ones?
My everyday pants?
The ones you were wearing?
No, not the one I'm wearing right now.
The ones that you have laying on the floor all the time. She crawled up and went into your pants.
Yep.
Well, at least it gave you a reason to clean your room. You said you've been wanting to clean your room all this week,
I know.
and you never got to because the
Well,
kids.
normally Sundays when I clean my normally Sundays when I do my cleaning for some reason.
Have
That's
you
funny.
worked with Cam at all? Cam.
Yeah, actually, I have some. I'm gonna put some on this big window right here.
Kind of funny because I
I
didn't
just need to cut it to size.
stand back together, and then I look and there's different colorations in my pants, and it's like, yeah, with me like 5,000 times.
Uh-huh. Dumbass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do have some. I haven't used the stuff um, in between the glass. Like I said, on this one, I probably should have used Came, but I didn't think about it. But what I did is I got this. It's 1/8 inch thick by 1/4 inch wide by 3 foot long steel welding rod. I wrapped it in foil and then I soldered it to one of the seams in the glass. So if I back way up, you can see it's kind of split into thirds. You've got the first third, the second third, and this last third. And this seam goes all the way up until you hit the sloth. Let me move this real quick just so you can see. But there's enough seams to hit in the middle that it's got several places where it's tacked in the middle, and then again the seam up top, and both sides are like that. Um, so what was happening when I picked this thing up, because I've got a couple seams here in the middle on the edge, and it kind of follows the same path as all the seams across here, it was flexing in the middle really, really bad. So I put these stabilizer bars and it worked. No more flex.
Cool.
So I should have used Came on this one, but I didn't. I didn't really think about it. I'd never done anything this big before, but yeah, this one should have had some Came in it, or that I forget what it's called, but they've got that flat braided stuff that you can stick in between the glass. That stuff works too. It's a newer thing. I forget what it's called, but it's basically braided wire, and you can solder to it. So it adds once it's got solder on it, it adds strength to the seams. But um, because I didn't think about it till the last minute, this didn't get any came in the middle, but it will. I do have some of the what they call the U came, which goes around the edges, and so I'm gonna cut that to size. I've got enough of it; it should be able to go all the way around. So it's gonna get that, and then this is just a prototype because it doesn't look very pretty, but um, this this is a 3D printed frame, and it's going to go like this, and they hook together. So it's going to get a 3D printed frame, but um, this and the came will be the load bearing stuff, and then the 3D printed frame is basically just for looks on this particular piece. On smaller pieces, the 3D printed frame is actually long enough or strong enough to provide some sort of structural support. But for something this big,
Shut up.
it's
Anna sneaks in and throws an owl ball on Steeper Dork.
woo! I get hit in the head with an owl ball. So anyway, this is gonna get some cane. Thanks for dropping in, Anna's Owls. Appreciate it. Having people to talk to in chat is a nice change of pace instead of trying to remember to talk about what I'm doing to myself. All right, so that's the left side. I'm going to do this outer uh, outer piece here. It's hard to see because it's very thin. Um, we're going to do that, and then we'll work our way across the other direction. Once we get all that done, then I'll be on to some larger pieces again. There we go. All right. Stand up so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Yeah, I know. It's awesome. All right, that works, I think. Very, very thin piece, but I've been pretty lucky so far. Minus the curl, it seems to fit pretty good. Okay. So now we just gotta glue it. Quite a little farther away. Alright, so what I'm going to do on this one, since it's so thin, is I'm actually going to grind out this portion before I break it, or attempt to break it from the rest of the glass. The only thing I'm going to trim is just this little end right here.
Who said anything about dinner? It's not even time for dinner yet.
I don't think they've had lunch.
Let's see. Maximum says, if you're anything like me, you'll break that about 3 times before you get angry and take a break.
Well, we shall see.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to chance it. So, off to the grinder. Gonna grind the inside and then we'll break the rest of it from the piece. That was quick. I couldn't even get over here fast enough. Alrighty.
What?
Oh, well, that's good.
Ah, I see. You grind it. I try to cut the inside first. Should learn my lesson and grind more.
Um, if it weren't so thin, I actually would because I've got the ring star pliers. But this piece is really thin. I mean, okay, look, here's my finger. There's the piece. It is super, super thin. It's, well, look, here's some Allen wrenches. It's about as thick as the 2 millimeter Allen wrench, maybe the 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench. It is not thick. It is super thin. So I made the executive decision to grind more instead of risking it. I could have risked it, but especially this iridized glass can be moody is a good word.
Finicky.
Finicky is another good word.
A pain in the ass.
Yeah, well, the white it really actually is a pain in the ass. The white iridized glass is super, super finicky. This stuff isn't too bad so far,
No, this one hasn't been that bad.
but it's still moody because it has moments like that.
What do I do?
It's gonna be 2 pieces is what it's gonna be because I am not redoing that. So let me put just a little bit of water right there so I can. Ta-da! Okay, now we have 2 pieces, which is okay. I was trying to get it in one, but it didn't want to come, so that's fine. Nope. See, as I was talking, it proved me right. Ah, get to be 3 pieces. Fine. Just be this way. Just be that way. There we go. At least that broke right. The reason I'm not gonna do it again is it's a waste of glass. Maybe I can get the other side, maybe not. Maybe it'll be 3 pieces too. We shall see. This one is definitely going to be 3 pieces, and back to the grinder we go. I'm not going to waste a whole bunch of glass. I mean, I could get it. I could spend all day here and eventually get it, but
Why?
why?
It makes it look even more.
It let the glass do what it wants to do. And a piece like this was pretty risky to try to do in one swoop anyway. I'm not too terribly disappointed. Yeah. Come back. Fortunately, I had all the rest of it done before it decided to play turtle or whatever.
I put on there sometimes when the glass.
I'm listening.
Oh, does what. Okay, sometimes when the glass does what it wants to do, you just go with it and it comes out better than you thought it would.
Yep, that's true.
Because how many times have we done it that it looks better?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, close enough. I think this goes. Hang on. Yes, that goes there. Get off of there, you. Alright. We just have that center section to go. And I'll show you guys what it looks like. I'm gonna take my gloves off. I need my dexterity back. There. Okay, so I want to show you this. So even though it broke, I was able to salvage those 3 pieces and make something usable. So you'll be able to see the seams once they're foiled.
God, even that one stitch is doing. Tastes better the next day, though.
So now I'm just washing them off in the bath. I will also caution you if you ever have a project with pieces that are this thin, be extra careful when you foil them. They are very fragile. I've had pieces break in the past just because I put too much pressure and stress on the glass when I was using my FID, or more often when I was in school, a pencil. To try to smooth out the foil. You still want to do it. You just have to be gentle, very gentle. actually using my fingernails because I want it to be mostly stuck down, and I just put just very light pressure and make sure I support it on both sides. Just not pressing very hard. You can always go back multiple times. The more you go back and forth, the more it lays down. Alright, there's one and done. This one's gonna be the hardest because it's got such a curve to it. You gotta be extra gentle to not put too much pressure on it and have it break right in the middle. Alrighty. This side's the easy side because the shape of my finger helps out. Just gotta be gentle. Again, I'm using my fingernails to push over the edges. On bigger pieces, I usually just, use the fid. But on something this small and delicate, fingernails usually, at least to get the party started. And I can set it down.
Engine. So may I ask where your username streamed from? I initially was thinking that you frequent Renaissance fairs, but
I
I
do.
just don't know.
Excellent guess. Yes, I'm a big fan. Renaissance fairs are very fun. And it also, not only that, but it also stems from, because stained glass isn't the only thing I do. I've got the 3D printing thing going on. Um, I'm sure eventually at some point I'll have some project around the house that I can stream.
Thinking more like you producing things in the old methods.
Right. Well, it's not about the old methods. It was really the idea of a Renaissance man, being kind of a jack of all trades and into multiple things. I'm very mechanically inclined. When I had the time, I would, change my own. Well, I grew up on a farm, so, I've done lots of, even though I haven't been to a mechanic school, I have done a lot of work on farm equipment and stuff. And so, as long as it's not something as extreme as taking apart an engine and rebuilding it, or a transmission, anything else on a car I can take apart and put back together. I've replaced alternators. I've, of course, changed my own oil, change out the belts, new batteries. Basically, anything below um, engine and transmission, actual, taking it apart work, I can do easily. I'm one of those people who, if I take something apart myself, I can put it right back together as long as I'm the one who took it apart.
He says I have my ender running right now. Ah, gotcha. Same here. Unfortunately, Jackman has already taken as a name. Hee.
Right. But the Renaissance man is not just a jack of all trades. It's being just having completely varied interests that don't necessarily have anything to do with them with each other. Fortunately, the mechanicking skill does bleed over into stained glass. For like when I started off the stream and cleaning, well, not the cleaning out of the grinder, but um, moving it down on the shaft. It helps me do stuff like that without any hesitation. Um, when I went into the Army, now I was in the Colorado National Guard for 10 years. I was deployed in 2006, 2007. Um, and I was a cook, 92 Golf. But what's funny about that is my GT score was 114. That was one of my lower scores. My general mechanical score was 128. Um, Somehow my electrical score and one other score was like 118, and I don't mess around with electricity beyond like basic splicing of wires together. But yeah, my general mechanical score is 128. So I'm just one of those people who's very mechanically minded and mechanically adept. Um, you know, I can take anything apart. If I take it apart, I can put it back together. And sometimes stuff that's already apart, if it's not too complex, I can do the same thing. I can um, I can take it and put it back together, or spend some time and figure out how it goes together.
That's why I built my first printer from scratch instead of buying a kit. I do better learning the process by doing it fully myself.
Yeah, and I completely understand that, but I bought a CR10 because I don't have time for that. Um,
Yep, same here.
my regular day job, I am a relief consumer safety inspector for the USDA Food Safety Inspection Service, FSIS. And what that means, being a relief, is when there's people on vacation, people out sick, vacant positions, etc., etc. I'm the fill-in guy. So I'm in the Texas is part of the Dallas district, which includes Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico. And since I live in El Paso, I'm in New Mexico a lot, but I've also been to the Austin area several times, San Angelo. We've there's a little patrol in Odessa, and actually my circuit is the Odessa circuit, so and it's geographically quite big. Um, been down to Del Rio, um, but basically I go wherever they send me, more or less. And so because I'm gone a lot, I don't have time for all the projects that I would like to be able to do myself. I barely have time for this stuff. That's why I'll stream for a week or two, and then I'll be completely off of Twitch for a month or two. Because if I'm not home, I can't stream. I, I need to have all my tools and area to work, and you just can't do that out of a hotel. I mean, maybe if I was really determined, I could, but no, I'm not. I'm not putting myself through that. Sorry, sorry, guys.
Yeah, don't need him forgetting stuff.
Well, yeah, that's true. I've always been kind of a absent-minded professor. I'm sure some of you who watched me long enough have probably already figured that one out.
Cosmo Drive says makes sense. Got to make the most of your time home when you're home.
Exactly, exactly.
Engine says that just works too much. Don't travel much anymore, but my hours are too inconsistent.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing, because I can be on day shift and night shift, so it's not only locations, but I do not have any sort of steady schedule. I don't even know I'm going to be
Until Wednesday.
in a certain area until about the Wednesday before. So about a week in advance is all I get.
If that even.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's also subject to change too. Um, so sometimes I think I might be home, and then at the last minute I'm not.
Like this week, everybody got lucky because you
Yeah.
needed
So
time off because of
so
the
this week I
holidays.
took time off because I had to see the doctor. My back has been killing me, but like not during the daytime, at night. So I haven't been able to sleep because when I lie down, my back hurts. Um, so I took I took the week off so I could go see the doctor, which I couldn't get an appointment till Wednesday.
Well,
But
this was a rescheduled appointment.
well, luckily, yeah. Anyway, so hopefully we can get that figured out. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of diagnostic tests, but for now, the pain medication that he's got me on is doing good enough to actually let me sleep. Because
Yes.
I haven't had a decent
Usually,
sleep
last night was kind of iffy.
in months. I wouldn't know. I felt like I slept pretty good.
You were snoring pretty bad, but I mean, other than that, it was an okay
But
night.
as far as actual sleep quality, it was fine for me. Oh, that's perfect. That little shard there was just what the doctor ordered.
Engine says, well, be sure to let me know if ever you make your way over to TRF.
TRF, TRF.
We usually go a weekend or two during the season and camp. It's something. It's definitely something new he'll need to get used
Yeah,
to.
um, yeah. I've only been in Texas since July. I'm originally from Colorado. So you'll have to enlighten me on what TRF even is, because I don't know.
Texas runs off this one. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah, so we'll probably do that. Hopefully, maybe this. It's in the fall, right? Most of them usually are in the fall or late summer.
Late summer. Give me a sec. I can look it up because I have
Yeah,
it
because
on.
because we used to go to the one in Larkspur, Colorado, all the time. Um, so yeah, we'll see if we can go this year. Go down for a weekend.
September 29th through November 25th.
Oh yeah, and it's a yeah, that's right. Because I looked it up before, and it's one of the longer ones.
Yeah. I have it on my bookmark.
Well, you've got longer than us because we're since last July. But so anyway, I'm originally from Colorado.
Maximum says Colorado's a beautiful state.
Yes, well, which is why we ended up in El Paso because it's only a 10-hour drive back to home.
It's okay, I'm
Um,
ready at 9.
but so working for the USDA, I took my first promotion and we went to New York. We spent 2 years in New York. Ah, it rolled right off my fingers.
Maximum says don't know much about Texas.
But we spent 2 years in New York. I got another promotion while I was there, and then a position of the same. I'm a GS10, by the way, so you guys can look that up. It's you can just Google it. OPM will come up, and you can figure that out. Um, but a position in Alabama opened up that was the same grade level. It was a relief slot. So we moved from. We lived in Jersey City, New Jersey. We moved to Montgomery, Alabama, lived there about 2 years, and then this position in El Paso opened up. I ended up getting it, and we moved again. Um, the one thing that actually drove us out of Montgomery was the humidity. Colorado is a fairly dry state, and thankfully, obviously, El Paso is as well.
Engine says dang it. Oh, I
So
know what that is. Not bad. I think he's talking about the G's.
yeah, yeah, I'm a step four. I just got my step four this past October. Then I'll be, I think it's 2 years before my next within grade increase. Yeah, stop it. So one technique I learned, I'm actually pushing the glass with the edge of my fingernail this way, so I disturb the template the least amount possible. Although sometimes it still moves. Close. Okay, that's as close as we're gonna get it.
Susie says I question myself every other day why we chose Houston.
Yeah, it's pretty humid down there. Being originally from a dry state, I did not adjust to the humidity well. I think you have to be born in that crap.
Neither one of us adjusted too well to the humidity, either in Alabama or New York. Maximum says that's a good tip. I try to push with fingertips on the edge, but
Yeah, when they
fingernails are
get so
pressed
thin,
all over.
You literally have to put your fingers down like this and push on the edge. Because that's the only way it's going to work. All right, so it's a reasonable fit. So what we'll do with this one, instead of having it pull away, we'll just come straight down. But we'll do this big center panel first. Excuse me.
Engine says, when I was first stationed in South Dakota, I was waking up to nosebleeds.
Oh yeah, because it's really dry up there too. Um, Up in Colorado in the winter, because once it gets below like 25 degrees, there is no humidity in the air. I would always get a couple nosebleeds a year right around January and February because, it went from dry to really freaking dry.
Oh, that place was dry.
Yes.
It is. What did you do, Ren? Because you have a good amount of watchers today.
I don't know.
We're not normally above 5 people. Engine says, nope, I wouldn't mind being back in Colorado Springs. Seems
The
like
spring,
such a
the
great
Springs
place.
is nice.
Yes.
Springs is nice. My grandparents have a house on Sugarloaf Mountain above Boulder. And
Maximum says somewhere in the mountains in Colorado would be spectacular.
yes, so they have a view that, because right where their house sits, they can see right down the valley, out through Boulder Canyon and across the plains. And
If you're lucky.
as long as the smog isn't too bad, because of the inversion layer that Denver tends to get, because of the mountain wave effect.
Maximum says, would love to get
Um,
semi-retired somewhere out there with some space to myself.
yeah, I know. Um, but so they can. The farm that I was raised on is about 80 miles west from Boulder, and on a clear day, you can see. You can't see the farm place itself, but there's a little. It's not a radio antenna, but it's like a cell tower antenna. It's a signal antenna, and you can see where the antenna is. So you can tell where the farm is. It's really freaking cool. And that's with the naked eye. You get out the binoculars, and then it's really awesome.
Oh, wow, we just boosted up one more person. Wow.
I got all kinds of visitors today. This is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, normally we're at 5. Today we're at 11 right now.
If
Anna
Joel pops
Alice.
his head in here, I might die.
Anna Alice, Maximum Overdrive. Miss
So
Evelyn.
it's there. You can't see much of it because it's mostly covered in foil. Just a little strip of glass showing through,
That's
but
Engine.
it's there.
Zombie Cupcake. Besides myself. Or you're probably on your phone.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that I count. Right, but I'm not sure I count in the viewer count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 viewers.
Because I'm not sure, but I think the way Twitch is set up, you don't count as a viewer in your own channel.
Well, 5 viewers. 6 if you count myself. Moobot, yourself, and Stream Elements are all that's on the list.
Nice.
Let's see. Engine says, haha. Maximum says, that's awesome. I need to spend more time in Colorado.
Yep, and where they're at, there's a cold spring on their property, and that's where they get their water out of, and it flows all the time. So even if there was a situation where something really bad happened, you would have water.
Lurkers sound off. It's okay, Engine. No big deal.
I'm just kind of blown away because this doesn't happen very often.
Nope, we're usually at 5 is the highest we've ever been. Hey, I got a giggle.
Right there. Okay.
Miss Evelyn, hi. Maximus, been scoping out the land nearest Estes Park. Somewhere close to town, but far north. But man, it's expensive. Uh-huh.
Yep, that is very true.
Love it.
Yeah, that area especially is very expensive. Um, just on the other side of the mountain from Estes Park is a little town called Granby. When you get outside of town, it's not as bad, at least not compared to Estes Park. So that might be an option, because you could just drive through the backside of Rocky Mountain National Park and get right to Estes Park. And actually, Granby has one of the best fireworks shows in the state. There's a little lake there, or not Granby, Grand Lake. Grand Lake is the one Granby is actually not far from Grand Lake, but Grand Lake is actually has one of the best fireworks shows in the state. The little lake there, Grand Lake, they basically have a couple of barges full of fireworks, and they set off fireworks over the lake. And since the town and the lake sit in a bowl in the mountains, not only do you get the show, plus the reflection off the water, you also get the echo of the fireworks in the canyon. It's an experience that you cannot get anywhere else. It's one of those that literally should be on everyone's bucket list.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh! Why is there crap still out on the floor?
Yeah, so Granby is closer to Kremling, but Grand Lake is literally right up against the opposite side of Rocky Mountain National Park. Um, And like I said, you get outside of town and property prices aren't quite as bad as Estes because it's not as famous. Literally, the only time anybody's there is during the 4th of July, pretty much. What's really cool is during the 4th, they have people out in the streets taking donations, and all of those donations go to next year's fireworks. So it's kind of a self-perpetuating thing. People show up there. You got to show up early. If you go on the 4th, if you want a decent spot on the lake, you gotta show up way early and pick your spot. Because by noon or 1 o'clock, all the good spots are taken, or at least all the obvious good spots are taken.
Let's see. We'll have to look into it with all the dream money I wish I had.
Yeah, I know, right? It went right underneath. We're supposed to do that.
Hey, Mo.
There we go.
Really? You going crazy on my hand? Let's see. Maximum says my ideal setup would be a small two-bedroom cabin with a shop building on a small chunk of land where I can get to town in under a half an hour.
Yeah,
How,
that
how big
actually,
is that?
yeah. I know. I feel your pain.
Really? You're getting possessive over my hand, huh?
You've got a weird dog. Just saying, honey.
She's here licking my hand, and when the eyeball gets close, she starts growling and nipping at it.
Ay vey.
And I can't give out on my other hand because my other hand is in my glove because of my arthritis in my thumb.
Yep.
I'll give you some both. Lost some of our liquors. Calm down, Mocha. Alright, when are we gonna break?
30 minutes.
Okay. Because everybody's complaining they're hungry. I'll have to get started on dinner. What happened to the recipe?
Unfortunately, I wanted to use this piece, but it wasn't quite long enough. Close, but no cigar. One of these days, I'm gonna have to do a stream where I take all these the little scraps and turn them into
Something.
little tile pieces for mosaic.
Maximum overdrive starts to look at property.
The nice thing about window shopping, you can look all you want. Just try not to get depressed when you see all the prices.
Yeah.
Because anywhere in the mountains is expensive, but there's varying degrees of that. Like, mere mortals can never hope to buy property in Telluride, for instance, because all the celebrities bought up all that land, and so it's all worth a freaking fortune.
Aspen.
Yeah, Aspen, Snowmass, all of the ski resort towns, basically. If someone could go back in time with a whole bunch of money to
Off
the late
camera.
the late 60s before the Eisenhower Tunnel and buy up all that stuff, he'd be a multi-billionaire.
There you go.
Clunk.
The wind's picking up.
Yeah, I know. The wind's picking up. It's just knocked something over and it went clunk.
The plastic with the box out there.
Alrighty.
But yeah, even a rental there is stupid expensive. No chance of staying in those places. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, before I started with USDA, I worked for TSA for 2 years in Hayden, which is right between Steamboat Springs and Craig. Little We got lucky. We found someone who had a 3-bedroom trailer that the rent was only $600 a month, but that was the rare exception. Most everything was
8, 9,
$8, $9, $1,200.
I said one of the places we rented in Hayden was a 1-bedroom hole in the wall that cost us $800 a month.
Uh-huh.
Maximum said found a mobile home but no land plus HOA fee equals not happening.
Yep.
And I said, yep, we know the feeling. You're in a dangerous spot though.
Okay, that looks pretty good. got to give it its bath. Plop this in here.
Maximum says only if I could live in a tent for several years.
Yeah, I know, right?
Not with our backs.
No, but I understand the sentiment. We have thought about they've got some pretty nice camper trailers nowadays. There's one model that I look at that has a master bedroom, and then where of course where the table is folds down into a bed for two, and then it has two bunk beds besides that, and then a shower and a nice bathroom, and the kitchen's decent. Um, the way the trailer is arranged, it's perfect. I mean, it's a little tight like any RV camper trailer, but there's so much room for people to sleep and stuff. Um, one of these days when we can afford buying one of those, um, that's an option too. Because if you're at a campground, most of those places actually have reasonable rates. I mean, you have to hunt around a little bit, but I think that's the option that we would probably end up doing. But that's kind of something to think about for retirement anyway, or at least a few years in the future. Although that having a trailer like that would be nice for vacations and such as well.
I was hoping for early retirement, but seems quite unlikely.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing about the way the federal retirement system is set up. You can retire with 20 years in, but you also have to have the minimum retirement age. And since I started so young, I'm gonna be at like if I retire at 55 or 57, which is the earliest that FERS will let you retire, not even talking about drawing Social Security early. I think I'll have something like 37 years in or something like that. I'll have 30 years before I'm eligible to retire. And it's not like if I left that, once I have it, I'll always have it. It's just, man, that's depressing. That the other side of that is, you know, we're putting quite a bit away, as much as humanly possible, in the thrift savings plan, and hopefully that will also have a nice little nest egg by the time I'm actually fully eligible for retirement.
Ow.
There we go. Okay, got it right there. There we go. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna stand up.
interesting. A lot at my retirement can't really count on Social Security before
Nope.
you're around 30 years.
Nope. Social Security will be gone by the time guys like us retire. There's no way, unless something happens um, outside of Congress that forces Congress to pay it back, or something unforeseen. That, yeah, it's a pipe dream for guys our age to count on Social Security, and that's just the grim reality of it. It's
Yeah, I know you're hungry, and we will make dinner in a little bit.
Right, exactly, exactly. All right, by the time we finish this piece, it'll probably be time to quit, so I will find someone to rate and host.
I will be making dinner in about a half hour.
This one's just a touch wider. Maybe it'll be the...
No, after you eat that.
Open. That glue stick is dead. All right. Okay, that works. I love this cup. My coffee is still piping hot from 3 hours ago.
That's why I gave it to you.
That's why it's been sitting there, because it's still right on the edge of too hot to drink.
And that was 11 o'clock.
All right, Fun King. I love that your notification popped up, but you're in the way of OBS. All right. Anybody who follows Fun King or You Do It, they are live on YouTube, or at least they were. So if you'll stick around long enough with me to do the raid and the host, I'd appreciate it. But I completely understand if you guys go over and hang out with those guys. But the person if she's on, like I think she will be, um, she's a creative streamer. She does painting. She also plays the harp. But today is her 1 year partner anniversary. So I hope you'll stay around long enough to raid her with me. And then I'm going to take a couple-hour break and come back this evening.
Maximum said that's one way to limit your coffee intake.
Yeah, I know, right?
Can I have a potato, please?
Well, let's see. Do a fit test. Alrighty. So this one gets the bath. I think uh, since I streamed so long this morning, how does 6:30 sound, Hannah? Does that give you enough time to do dinner and stuff? All right, so we'll take a 3-hour break. Come back at 6:30. 6:30 my time. Whatever 3 hours from
3:30.
from three from from 10 minutes from now is for you. That's when we're coming back.
That's why I'm not even switching the desk or anything right now.
Right, there's no point. I'm literally almost done. I just got to wrap this in foil. Itchy.
Let's see. That'll give me time to get a bunch of stuff done and wrap up by evening with class, hopefully.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the plan. Almost done here, so as soon as I get this foiled and put in place, I'll show you guys a picture. I'll get my phone out and make sure that my intended rig target is online. If she's not, I'll just pick somebody else. We'll do the raid, and then I'll be back in about 3 hours. Meadow Fox, if she's on. You can search for her while I'm doing this if you want. I was going to say she should be by now, but it is. And I actually just noticed that the iridized side is on the wrong side. I don't know how I did that. I must be getting tired, which means even more reason to take a break. But you know what? It doesn't look bad. I'm just going to leave it. You'll never notice it. It's such a thin piece. Because some of the iridized side is that kind of light color blue anyway, so it's fine. Leave it be. A bigger piece, I would be really mad at myself, but that little piece, I'm not worried about it. All right, let me get my thingies. Oh, Talon's Work Foundry. Thank you for the host. Again, I didn't hear it, so something must be mute it and then unmute. All right. So, if you guys can use the Twitch raid emote, the raid call is rabid squirrels, like so. You can even do the /me in front of it, and then you'll /me, and then whatever you're typing will give you the colored font that matches your username font. If you, just so you can copy and paste. Here's the Twitch. The Twitch version. And again, it's /me. And see how you get the custom color there. All right. Now that I've got it in there, all right, I will see you guys over there, and I'll be back on in 3 hours.